Marty. Here we are again. This is only our second podcast, and we're calling it what? Sound Bites.
I guess so.
I reckon that's a great name.
Welcome to Sound Bites.
We were talking, just before we started about AI, and we'll get to that because I know that's an area that we're all interested in. I mean, if it worked for people, we'd be using it, and maybe there will be elements. But right now, it's not got the soul and energy of what I call real productions now. And I'll just take as an example that meeting that we came out of just a couple of hours ago with a super happy author, who'd written a very beautiful book that was voiced by a narrator with whom we all formed a team. I mean, there are then 5 of us on the team helping support the author. And every project, every author has got their own sort of vision of how an audiobook is going to sound. Most of them are audiobook consumers themselves. So they've already been in that space and matched this author with a perfect narrator. Now, as the book evolved, as you know, it's a complex process. Every chapter is an audio file.
Yeah.
It goes to you. As soon as it's been captured, if it's done remotely, which in this case it was, you get to master and edit it. It's managed by a project manager to make sure that everything is on key and according to schedule, and that the chapter descriptions that have been provided by the author at the beginning of the project are being followed. But I think the greatest compliment was that she was saying, as each chapter was being produced, she was sending it to her partner, who was listening to it in the car. And this, she said, her partner is somebody who is not a big reader. It is not a genre that is particularly appealing to her partner. And she was delighted that he'd come home every afternoon after a 45-minute drive and start talking about the book and getting angry about what some characters did or get involved in everything that was going on. And he kept on saying, that character, why did she do that? And he said he'd forgotten that she had written it because it was being voiced by a third party. Like, that was such a beautiful description of how really good audiobook production works.
And how really good narrators can influence a book.
Oh my gosh.
Because, the narration on that book is particularly good.
Yes, yes.
The voice actor that we work with is loving it.
Yes.
And it just sounds wonderful, and it is such a joy to produce things like that.
Yeah.
When, not just the author, but the whole team is completely around it.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And we're all excited for it to be released.
Absolutely. And because it's dealing with some really interesting historical but also interesting kind of subjects, I don't want to release it yet because it hasn't been, it's going to be released and published on all 3 formats. So we want to keep that a surprise. But I think it's going to help a lot of people as well as be a fascinating story in itself. The whole novel. Yeah,
it's really well written. It's very nice.
Now, when you get, God knows we've looked at a lot of AI, it is difficult to get an AI mechanism to really capture the energy of a book.
It requires a lot of effort at this point.
At this point of development.
Yeah. It's exciting. AI tools are exciting because I think they are in the way, it's all about the way you use them.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I think some people will be completely against it.
Yes.
Be like, no, never.
Yeah.
But there are applications of it that I think are undeniable.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of audio, it still has to be done ethically and it has to be done responsibly.
Yeah.
So I guess what Maria and I are kind of looking at this year is how do we implement it in a way that is beneficial to the people that we work with. And that doesn't just mean, we replace a voice or anything, because I don't think we're up to that stage. And I think that will require a lot of discussions. But we are up to the stage of like making different products that, I guess, support a book, support the release of a book. I think that's really useful right now.
Yes.
The way that people are watching media these days is very short form. And so there are a whole bunch of tools out there that can help with that.
Well, we had that exciting thing that we are now developing as a new product, which is about what I call mobilizing your marketing for an audiobook. So one of our wonderful authors, who's an academic overseas, an Australian person but who's living and working, wrote this beautiful book that was really an historical analysis of the works of Jesus, and just going through and looking at the historical aspects, but also whatever kind of like philosophical issues arise from that historical period. Now, he took our audiobook, which was really well narrated by David Trednick,
Classic.
Oh, he's got an amazing voice for that kind of material, and has taken snippets of each chapter and is releasing them weekly on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook simultaneously. Not the whole chapter, just a little snippet along with a graphic, so that people can be triggered into, this book is available on all 3 platforms, but they're also getting a visual at the same time. So when I sent out the newsletter yesterday for AudiobooksRadio, showing all the people we've been working with, he also gave me permission, Dr. William Cope, he gave me permission to show what he had done. And I think a lot of authors will see that as something that you can do with an audiobook that you almost can't do with any other platform, and really slips in beautifully to what you were just saying about the way that people are imbibing information, especially when it's short format. So having that one sentence, part of the audiobook, also inscribed on a beautiful graphic, and then the flashing up signs of available on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, Spotify, and with links for people. And I believe Bill has now had, in the first week, had 100,000 views.
Yeah, he's had such success with it.
Yeah.
And that is so amazing to see.
Yeah.
Because we always want our authors to succeed.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is like, it's such a great example of what you can do.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I guess we'll be offering as well.
Yep.
If that part of it is a challenge to authors, we can do that.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
The other offer that we're doing is the offering authors that may be on a budget, maybe budget conscious. They can come in and start, I guess you'd call a podcast series.
Yeah.
So you get part of your book just up there and about, especially if it's already, like if you've already released a book, that's totally fine. Just come in, we'll do 3 podcast episodes worth, like maybe half an hour or so, and then you have some sort of asset. And you can test your book as well. You can be like, oh, maybe I do want a full-length audiobook for this. But I will say the platforms are definitely becoming a lot more flexible than what they were.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting to see. And it's because of the move as well, I think, to short form. It's like everyone is recognizing that people are completely changing their habits.
Absolutely.
And so it's great to see that flexibility open up.
Yeah. And it's sort of like, it's almost come full circle. People did used to only hear stories, right? And it used to be at the end of a long day, and it used to be around a campfire or whatever. So they were pretty time poor. But now to be able to come back to that, where people are able, through the normal course of their winding down or relaxing or being in a space where they can focus without having to sit down and just luxuriously read a book, for which there will always be a space.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like
Always.
every time I catch public transport, there is someone who is reading.
Yeah.
Always. And that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
great to see.
But most people.
Yeah, well, that's me. I'm headphones.
So meeting those needs, and there's still that hunger for storytelling. With the podcast, I think it's Notion. I think it's such a good one because it does mean that you can defray costs, if you're an author, and just sort of produce, as you said, assets, test the waters with the book. I think it'd be a brilliant way of being able to present some of your work to a publisher or to a competition. And certainly if you've got a website, you can put it on a website.
There's plenty of applications.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that I guess maybe some authors are quite apprehensive of is the price tag of an audiobook because it isn't cheap to do.
Yeah.
But it is a complete story.
Yes.
Like it is, there's a reason why it is the price the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's because it takes a lot of time and effort to do.
Yeah.
But you do have that forever. And you want to do it right the first time. Otherwise you have to go to AI and get your book done.
It's also very long lasting.
It is.
And as some authors have told me who've approached us, the reason I'm approaching you is that my grown kids, say they will never read this book until it's in audiobook format.
It's very interesting how audio is, like, in certain ways it has a longer lifespan than video. Like you try and watch a video from the 1970s, like try and watch any of those like TV series from then, and it's really dated. Yeah. Like, but if you're listening to an audio, there are certain things maybe you can get away with, but definitely audiobooks from the 70s because they're just telling a story. Yes. They could be telling a story like about, a classic story written, read, put on tape, and it would sound probably pretty good right now, you know? Yes, yeah. So audio does have a longer lifespan. Yeah. But if you are a budding author, I guess our advice would be, making that ecosystem around your audio, whether it's an audiobook, a podcast, and having a whole bunch of assets that people can really engage with. Yes. That is part of a bigger ecosystem. Yeah. And that is where we are going with, I guess, our new products that we're offering. Yeah. Being able to service those needs and people at different levels. I totally agree. Look, I'll just share this with you because I've been talking to new authors all week. And one of them said that they had 3 books. The first book had been published and audiobooked by an overseas publishing company. And if you go overseas, you can get your book published on the 3 formats at the same time. But the reason he was coming to us for the second book is that he found it so unsatisfying having that first audiobook done. He said, I felt like, this was before I'd even opened the conversation. He found it very unsatisfying from a creative point of view. He gave the script. A narrator was chosen. He had a choice of 2 or 3, which is fine. And then he was sent the first draft. He was allowed to make some small corrections and then went back. But that was all the input he had. And he just said, I don't want to take over, but I do want a little bit more input than that. And he didn't know how we worked. So when I explained how we worked as a team, how we allow an author, provide facility for an author. It is a bit like allow because it's time consuming. I can understand why other audiobook production companies don't do this. It's time consuming and it's also involving a lot of creatives in the same space, which can be very messy. But that's a mess. That's a chaos that we love. That author will be able to write chapter description forms for us that are really easy and online. And what we get and also the narrator gets is a whole sort of Excel sheet of
chapter descriptions, where the story arcs are, what each character sounds like. When you're reading,
extremely important for character books.
Absolutely. So when you're reading a flat book, you're not always getting a sense of, was this said stridently? Has the character sort of formed a different kind of stand on life, halfway through the book? And even if it's more of a memoir, even that can happen. It's kind of an evolution. So all those things go in. And also we send, through your blessed hands, we send the mastered audio file where you've done your magic, and regardless of whether the narrator has been here in the sound booth or whether they've got their own studio, in a format where the author can listen to each chapter as it's being produced and be able to timestamp issues. And this is like one of the conversations we had today as well, which is creative changes. We allow creative changes. They do cost extra because there's re-recording and remastering involved. But if I'm an author and all of a sudden I've approved, I love this book, there's already been a little bit of discussion about audio adjustment of the text. Some changes have been made, but then all of a sudden you go, you know what, I want to add a paragraph here. Things have changed since this was written. Or you know what, I think that I now want this person to have an accent all the way through the book. So, that requires re-recording, blah, 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 blah. We're completely transparent about that. But it's possible. We will do that.
I kind of hope as well with this series of videos that we're making that people understand that it's not just an audiobook. It's so much more than that we do. It's not just someone coming in here talking. Which I think a lot of people just think that like audiobooks just pop out of thin air, which is one of the things that is. That's the simple thing that I guess people think about AI. It's like, AI, I just upload my text to an AI and that's it. It's done. But again, it's way more nuanced than that with that. And it's way, way more nuanced with the experience that you get when you come with us. Like your audiobook is a journey, whatever it is. We take you on that journey. To full production. It's not simple. I think that's one of the things I guess I want to very much impress is that, and we work with multiple books at a time, all the time, and people go away and they, at least like the feedback that we've received is that they feel like they've been taken care of.
Well, the creative journey has not stopped at the end of the written book.
No, it only begins.
This is another part of creating a differently textured version of that material, of that manuscript that you've sweated over, and making it available to a really much wider range of people than will ever sit down and read the book. That's just factual.
Yeah, it is. And so I think we're moving in the right direction of what we can offer people. Because, you're not just getting an audiobook when you come here. You at least get a strategy as well of what's going to happen after your audiobook. Like it doesn't just end. I think that is something that makes us stand out. In regards to like a lot of the other companies is that we actually do we are moving towards doing a lot more than just an audiobook. And it's not just an audiobook.
Well, it's not. I think people used to see the audiobook as tacked on at the end. And now it's almost like this is the vehicle that's going to carry the other versions.
I mean, like how many physical books do you really print? You don't print that many nowadays.
Well, also, that's a very costly exercise. Printing a whole pile of books is very costly, whereas this is something that does not require any reprinting. And in the future, like I know that we've done quite a few academic books. So in the future, if people do ever want to change a section because, I don't know, science has changed or, a theory or thesis has evolved, you can make those changes and they can be embedded in the book, re-changed a little bit and then sent out into the world in its new format. So all that's possible. But you don't have to reprint that book when people run out. It never runs out.
No, it never runs out.
And that's an interesting question that somebody asked me during the week as well. They said, is there when you put up an audiobook, is it there forever? Or do you have to kind of refresh? Now you know that it's up there forever.
It is. And you have the digital product.
Yeah.
We usually send authors the the drive folder that the book comes in.
Yeah.
So it's up to them whether they want it on the drive or not.
Yes.
But we strongly recommend you download them. But they are forever, they are a product that will stay the same.
Yeah.
It's not like a book that does, books kind of get grubby over time. But yeah, the actual audio files, you can do whatever you want with them. So even if they did expire on the platforms.
Yes.
Which doesn't happen.
I don't think it happens.
I don't think that happens. But even if it did happen, it doesn't matter because
you've always got your audio files.
Yeah, you have the asset.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing maybe that's worthwhile relating is that we definitely see ourselves as producers and we take no royalties at all.
No.
And we don't take any copyright. So we produce this beautiful asset really for the author to have in perpetuity. Okay. I like the way that Judy King used the audio for her book, which is very much about abuse. It was a book about abuse, and even it was put in novel format, but it was pretty much something that was close to a memoir. And this book was being used by social services institutions and communities to demonstrate scenes where people can become more aware of what the danger signals are. And by giving talks, we went to her book launch and she was able to put up a little kind of example of a story in the background during the book launch. And she'd be able to do that, at various talks that she would be asked to give anywhere in the world. So I suppose that's another way of seeing the audiobook as being mobilized.
Yeah, it is definitely not just something that we would say, put it
up.
Yeah, put it up there and that's it. It is something that you engage with as an author. And like we were saying about the Jesus book, it is one of those if authors do want to take it to the next level themselves, that book is such a great example of just getting it out there.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing, right? Because I do think it is such an important thing for authors to see what is possible.
Yeah.
And whether they want us to help them with that or not, it's up to them.
Yeah.
We can definitely do it, but it is so cool to see books that we've done get recognition.
Yeah.
And Judy King is a great one as well because
she was
going to
awesome.
her book launch was wonderful. It was such a nice experience, even though the book was quite heavy in its content.
Yeah.
It was an event that left a mark, I guess.
And look, that's the other interesting thing about having a performer do it. We both know, I'm talking now to our listeners, if you could see the preparation that performers go through in order to prepare for an audiobook, you'd be uber impressed because I know I'm always a little bit in awe of, the zone that performers put themselves in order to be able to capture the energy of the book, which is why I get, the author and our team and the narrator to all meet. And that's more for the benefit of the narrator than for the author, because the narrator wants to really meet and hear what and how that author has done by expressing themselves in this book. And then they can pick all those elements up. And with things like Agnes and other quite difficult books that we've done, we have been able to support the performer as well, so that, you know, when they put themselves in that zone, they can also, you know, have time to walk around. I know with the steering wheel, I was able to walk around with the narrator and the performer, have little breaks, and then still maintain that zone. But the product is amazing. Yeah.
And that's something that any of the learning modules will not be able to do. Like you just will not get this. If you're writing a hard book, don't expect the computer to understand it.
Yeah.
And I guess the other question that you have to ask yourself, if you do want to, I guess, you know, if you want to go down that path and be like, oh yeah, I want to use these programs to make my book, who's your listener?
That's a really good question.
Who is it? Like, who is going to listen to this?
Yeah.
Like, I can think of a few different applications that would save you money when you make like a book like that. Like, say you have a book and you want to translate it into like another language, or maybe a language that is really hard.
Yeah.
Maybe you use a learning module to do that instead of an actor. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, that's really interesting, because about a year and a half ago, I was having very deep conversations with an audio producer who only did manuals, only created manuals.
Oh, that's interesting.
And only for universities, for government departments, all using AI.
Yeah, and well, I think that's a great application for it.
And she was saying for short form instruction manuals that are going to, say, attend a TAFE course or university course, they've got their place. And when I showed her how we work, she said, double down on that and leave me do what I do, because I will never be able to do that. And people who've got real stories, that's the richness that deserves. I kind of at the time went, yeah, absolutely. Now I'm kind of even thinking that people's ears have been refined by listening to a lot of material, that even instructional material is going to seem too flat and boring.
Really?
I do think that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because, if you see the number of amazing podcasts that people, YouTube things, I look at YouTube all the time and listen to it. It's always those, if I'm learning something, it's always those voices that really engage. And there are a lot of AI-generated voice or, voiceovers, especially for people who've got heavy accents, for instance, and want to reach an English audience. I find it difficult to listen to. And I also have started to notice that there's a little kind of proviso at the bottom of some of these now saying, this is AI generated or this was done by a real person, especially if it's, say, a philosopher that you follow, which, I was following this Asian philosopher and I didn't mind the accent and the tripping over words, but all of a sudden, because they were producing so much material, they got an AI generated voice cloning his voice to do those YouTubes, and people started to turn away. And so
I think there is, like I said before, I think there is definitely an application for it. And I would have thought that manuals would be one of them. But
let's see.
We'll see about that.
Let's see.
But I think there's definitely workhorse things that it can fill in the gaps of.
Yeah.
However, my experience of doing this type of work over 5 years has kind of shown me that for what we do, it is very, very hard to achieve the results and the experience that you give an author with any, like you can't do it with the tools that are available right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I guess that personalization and experience that we want to give to the audience and the listeners as well, you know, benefit from the production. That trumps everything.
Absolutely.
That just is the most important thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Look, we can talk about this forever.
I think that's enough.
I think that's enough for today, and we'll get another podcast going pretty soon.